First of all, everybody that knows me knows anything that I gotta say, I will say it and address it. I don't need anybody to speak for me. Second of all, everything that I have to say, I will address it tomorrow. So catch me live, and I will say it one time and one time only. I will not repeat myself.
Well, he's a cutie pie. I might put him in Potomac. Okay, yes. Yeah, he can come right on to Potomac.
Wow, so we got a lot to talk about, guys, and I want to just go ahead and dive right into it. So we got to talk about this whole Trina and Nicki Minaj thing real quick. We got to talk about TAMI from Basketball Wives, and then listen, I just want to put all of this together so I can understand and make sense of what's about to happen and what's about to go down in hip hop. But first, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell button, and don't miss a single bit of the news that we got going on here on this channel. Now, let's get things started by talking about this whole situation with Trina and Nicki Minaj. Now, we know everything that we know thus far, and I'm just gonna sort of recap for everybody. I know you've seen it on literally every blog on YouTube, on every blog, not on YouTube. Everybody's talked about it ad nauseum. This whole situation with Trina's A&R basically coming out and saying that she didn't support the BAP's record with the same energy that she is supporting the Hot Girl Summer record with Megan Thee Stallion, likely because Megan Thee Stallion is the hot commodity right now, and he's basically saying that Nicki Minaj is deceitful and a manipulator. So you guys watch my boy Spunky Dineva's channel. You've seen his interview with Reggie, the A&R rep for Trina. Chances are you've heard Nicki Minaj's response, where she basically said at certain points there was no budget for the video. She asked to do the video 2 years ago. They recorded the song 2 years ago. She did not choose her date for the release of Megatron to coincide with the same date that Trina was releasing her album. It wasn't nothing shady going on. She even had Trina on the radio, on Queen Radio, to promote her project. We also know that Trina asked basically flat out, how can we get this video done? Nicki Minaj was like, no, I don't need for this to be a lot of work. You let me know and we can put it on the books. I just don't want to put a lot of work into it because I'm already overworked at the moment as it is. And then we heard Nicki Minaj say that she don't owe anybody anything, that she's tired of being labeled as this difficult person. Then we've had, Bobby Lights, which is Trina's fam, basically coming out in support of Trina as well, which is, as fam, that's what he's supposed to do. Now, for me, being the person that lives here in Miami at this point in time, I'm very supportive of Miami music culture, because I just feel like, there's so much here. It's so rich in history and diversity. And Trina is definitely one of the OGs and the legends in this game of hip hop in terms of the newer wave of ladies that came in around, the late 90s and that sort of thing. And the thing that I like about Trina, and a lot of people have things to say about her, but one of the things that you cannot take away from Trina is the fact that she has steadily worked these past, over this past decade, when other, rappers were kind of coming in and out of the game, she stayed in the game. She was still consistent. She was still putting out music. She was still touring. She was still doing her thing. So we always have to respect her. And for the most part, we've never really heard of too many issues with Trina and other female rappers. It seems like she shows a lot of love to a lot of other female rappers, although there had been a report out about her not necessarily showing much love to Jackie O back in the day. You guys can catch Spunky Dineva's channel if you want to see that as well. And I don't mind promoting my friends' channels and stuff like that on this channel, because I love to support other people, as you guys may know. Now, what I want to talk about is this whole announcement that Trina has coming out, and I'm trying to figure out what she's going to tell us. Because, if you guys watch Love and Hip Hop Miami, when Trina gets into it, she is like a train, and it does not stop. She goes in and she goes ham. So I'm very interested to hear what she's going to say. Is she going to condemn her A&R rep for speaking out of turn on her behalf? Because maybe, honestly, I would be a little bit annoyed if someone on my team spoke out for me without either my knowledge or consent, or did he have her consent? We don't necessarily know. That hasn't been addressed yet. at the end of the day, I do feel like he was coming from a place of love for the artist that he works with. But also too, it's like, yo, like you put now, Trina is in a position where she has to either respond, make some type of statement, or, you know, sort of rebuke what you just said. So it puts her in a very interesting spot at this point in time, especially with her album being out. And then with him basically saying that she's in a very dark space at this moment and all of these things will come out. So I'm really, really interested in what she's going to say. And do you guys think that she is going to really give us the full entire picture? Or is she going to sort of address literally what he said head on and then that be that? Or do you think she's also going to address Nicki Minaj? I, for one, I'm so fascinated by this because, you know, for me, coming to Miami and then working on a news outlet, one of my main goals was to interview Trina. Just because I'm a hip hop aficionado in terms of like 90s, 2000s. I'm not so much into the music that's out right now. It's no shade to anybody, but it just doesn't move me in the same way that earlier music did, and that was why I became a DJ, was because of artists like Trina. You could put on Pullover and Long Heels, Red Bottoms, you know, and the crowd still goes up in the club. You know what I'm saying? So Trina got hits that really kind of withstand the test of time. So for me, I'm very, very interested to hear what she's gonna say when she finally does speak. So I need to be turning on my notifications because she didn't give us the time. So let me know what you guys think about this whole situation down in the comments below. You know, I've tried to aggregate as much of the information as I possibly can to give you guys a complete story. But really, we're not gonna know the complete and true story until we hear it from Trina's lips. So be on the lookout for that. Next up, we got to talk about this whole situation with TAMI Roman from Basketball Wives. She has just released her song, No Pressure, under the moniker of Tatiana Trill. Now, I know that if you've been following TAMI on social media or if you've been watching this season of Basketball Wives, you will know that TAMI has been basically working with a variety of artists. She's worked with Yo-Yo, who is now starring on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. She has worked with, you know, her daughter, who is creative directing this whole project. And today she actually dropped the first single from this project, and we don't know what she's gonna do with it yet, but I had to listen to it about 10 times. Honestly, I'm gonna give it to you guys. I put it on repeat because the first couple of listens, I was not feeling it. But upon further listen, like if I take away my expectation for the song, and I don't know what my expectation was initially, but it wasn't necessarily this. I think that people could go up for it. It's got a catchy hook. It's interesting. It's interesting. I don't have a problem with TAMI wanting to continue something that she started years ago. And I don't have a problem with her being creative at all. I'm just trying to figure out if I wanted something a little more or if I felt like it was a bop. Because in some parts it's a bop, but in some parts I wanted a little bit more. Particularly, I think I wanted to hear a little bit more lyricism. Given that her daughter is a beast with rapping, I kind of wanted to hear a little bit more of that, but I also kind of feel like it was bordering on age appropriate because, you know, TAMI's at a dope age right now. I'm gonna say that because sometimes people tend to think that you're in your 40s or 50s, and some people will call that old. I don't call it old. I call it like these dope years because now when people are in their 40s and their 50s, I feel like they're really starting to get into who they really want to be in life. And I'm not mad at her for exploring this lane, but I really want to know what you guys think. I'm going to put the link to that song in the description of this video so that you guys can actually listen to it. And I want you guys to give me your comments if you heard it and if you want more from her. I guess what I want to know is what's next. Are we going to be seeing a video? Are we going to be seeing a tour? Like what's the end game for this character? Was it just to put out the one song and sort of fulfill a need to be creative? You know, is there going to be an album? Like, what is it going to be here? And I know she's really excited about it, but I still want to know, what is your end game with this TAMI? So you guys comment down below what you think and let me know. And, you know, we'll continue to have to keep this conversation going. Now, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell button so that you can be alerted to when we drop new content on this channel. And I will see you guys in the next video.